Welcome everybody to the CrossFire podcast. It's Friday night. We appreciate you guys joining with us tonight. It's a busy weekend, guys. We've got Call of Duty. You've got Outer Worlds. People are playing. I don't even know. There's like 3 or 4 other games we're going to get into tonight that everyone's probably playing and took their time out to be a part of CrossFire tonight. And I want to say thank you to everybody. Please, before we even get started, hit that like button, tweet it out, let people know we're here, reshare it, redo this, redo that. Hit the subscribe button. Let people know that you're a Mooch maniac. That being said, I want to say a shout out to Crap Gamer. Crap's going to try and make it for the second hour. Had a car problem, but he's going to be trying to get here. That being said, I've got one of the loudest guys on YouTube joining me tonight. He's the usual suspect. You guys know him as Xbot448, and he's never short on opinions. Xbot, how the hell are you tonight?
Yo, what is going on, everybody? What is up, chat? Mooch, it is an exciting time, man. I'm looking on Twitter, and I see people talking about and playing new games. It's an amazing day, brother.
It is a good thing. And, we were talking about it just before the show, too, Xbot. And to be honest with you, I think maybe the gamers don't like to hear this, Xbot, but is there too many new games coming out? We don't even know where to start and where to finish these days.
Dude, I hear you, man. I was just saying, like, as a YouTuber, I know a lot of my subscribers, they want to hear, my opinions on, like, every new game that comes out and stuff like that. And I have to tell them, guys, I don't make that type of YouTube money. Like, I cannot keep up with, like, how many games come out per year anymore. I got to be selective, man. I got to go with what I feel I'm really going to get into. You know,
the thing about it is this, and I said this, and I want to get into our other panel members, so I don't want to take up too much time during the introductions. But one of the things I've said, and I said this to Crap on MNC ages ago, is I said the one thing that's really, really crucial that we have to do, even as YouTubers, is you've got to hone in on a game that you particularly enjoy, and that's what you should actually kind of, make it your forte. You know what I mean? Make it your strength and get into that one particular game or that one particular genre instead of playing a lot of everything. You know what I mean? And speaking of forte.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's an intro segue,
what a great
man.
intro. Let me introduce Gaming Forte himself, Nautical. Forte, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. That was a great segue right there. And I agree 100% with you on that. You really definitely want to, dive deep on the games you care about the most. The fact that I made my channel more of a Xbox channel to begin with makes me want to make a second channel to dedicate just to Destiny, because that's the one game that I love the most, and I know I can do a lot of really good content around that. So man, definitely listening to what you got to say on that. And man, the topics you got picked up, it's gonna be fire.
Definitely a little back and forth gonna happen tonight, Forte. That's for damn sure on these topics.
Sir.
A lot of feelings on this. That
Oh,
being said, let me introduce Eric Jackson. Eric, welcome back to the show, buddy. It is great to have you. And me and you've been playing kind of we'll call it Twitter tag. That's the new thing, right? Man. Nobody calls anybody anymore. So it's not phone tag. We've been playing Twitter tag. And to be honest with you, it's tough to get you on the show, but every single time you're on here, it's great to have you on the show because your opinions are, they're not just what everybody says on Twitter. You're not afraid to speak your mind. Welcome back to the show. How you doing tonight?
Oh, man, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me again. Always awesome to be here. And I'm going to co-sign what you said. There are too many damn games, man.
Right? I'm glad you agree with me. Thank you. I like it when people say Mooch is right. I tend to agree with you. Let me do a real quick shout-out. Shout out to Jez Corden, who's in the chat. Jez, always great to have you. You're always welcome to the show. Be great to have Jez back on the show. Jez is speaking about opinions. Jez has got them.
Hey Jez, I need a Microsoft Duo. Can you hook me up, brother?
Listen. If Jez is doing a Santa list, okay, I'll take an Elite Controller V2. Who's mooching on the show? That's not fair. That's not fair at all. Let me go down to our notes here. I got Predator H2O. Pred, how the hell are you doing tonight?
Good, man. What's going on with you?
Wow, we're doing great.
Timing. Pennywise, baby.
Is that what that was? You never know what Pred's going to throw at you. Pred, great to have you here tonight, buddy.
Good to be here, man. I know we got some topics to get into tonight, so I'll keep it short and sweet.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, we got Crispy Bomb returning to the show. Crispy, you've been opinionated all week on Twitter. We can't wait to hear what you have to say. How you been? How are you tonight?
Mooch, and you know what? Outer Worlds, baby. Woo! Let's go.
I'm
going to tell you right now, they released a game that's not broken, people. You should be all over this. I'm telling
well,
you
know what, Crispy? You know what? I wasn't going to start there, but I think a lot of people that are here they want to hear about this, right? Let's talk about Outer Worlds for a bit now. Crispy, have you been playing this game?
I've been playing this game and I have not one glitch and I haven't even an inkling of any glitches. And not only that, it booted right up. I have seen absolutely no problems from anybody on Twitter. I'm proud of Obsidian. I'm proud of Microsoft for getting Obsidian. And you know what? The IP might be in flux because its own, I can't remember the actual dev. Shame on me, but it's in flux of whether they own it or not. And that's like Obsidian kind of like use their influence and got them to do most of the games. So Obsidian's basically a publisher. So we got to figure out if we're going to get a sequel or not exclusive to Xbox. But I'm sure Xbox will say, hey, you know what? We made a bunch of money off this game. Let's just throw it to everybody. Screw it. And having Outer Worlds 2, just the way it is. Because Xbox kumbaya, we all know it. We can't deny it. You know what I mean?
True.
And it is what it is. Like they're gonna make money. Look at Minecraft. You can say what you want. Oh, Minecraft again. Well, guess what? The billions upon billions of dollars been made off that IP. And if they can do the same with others, I don't blame them.
No, I don't blame them either. And to be honest with you, but what's your take on the game? There's got to be some pros, some cons. And guys on the panel, please do, who have played the game, chime in on what Crispy's saying. I have not played it yet. I did download it on PC Game Pass. I'm planning to play it on PC because I just want to get the full effects of this game. I have a feeling that this thing's going to really shine on the PC. But that being said, I love Fallout. But what is it that it separates itself from Fallout? Because I see enough differences here in the video that I've seen, Crispy, and I know, Pred, you may have played it a bit. I'm seeing some Mass Effect in there. Me and Pred had a side chat. He saw a little bit of BioShock's artwork in there. This isn't just a Fallout clone, is it?
Oh no, and you know what? They take from Fallout, they made the gunplay better and the mechanics I'm playing on normal because I haven't played a first-person shooter in a long time. Shame on me. But it's more linear enough to where I don't get lost into things. Like I found in Fallout 4, I was just constantly building crap. And then eventually I'm like, well, screw the story. Who even cares? You know what I mean? So that's the thing. They keep you in depth with the story. The humor is just great. I mean, it just is. It's satire to its fullest. It makes you feel like, oh yeah, you know what? We're kind of in a corporate America, and this is kind of the way it feels sometimes. And it's just awesome. The nuances, like, a lot of people compare it to Firefly, like as far as like what's going on in the story and everything. Like they kind of like take like little plucks of everything and kind of throw some shade at it. It's an entertaining game. And even though like in normal, it's slower paced, I'm sure that, in the harder modes, it becomes a little more involved in like the melee combat, which you could like dash side to side. And I find myself going to the sword more because it's more satisfying. Mm-hmm. But it keeps you linear enough. And, using the ship and everything.
Just to play devil's advocate here, and guys, do chime in. I like to see when a game comes out, people start to tweet out pictures and scenarios and things that they find unique and different. And is anybody noticing the one problem that I'm noticing? Everybody that keeps tweeting out, loving Outer Worlds, and then they show that, like, that nebula or that one picture in the sky of like a purple rainbow. That's all everybody keeps showing.
Oh, you're talking about the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, is there anything else, or do people just go, wow, this is beautiful, and shut it off? I mean,
we'll say Cognito did post a picture of his character.
He did. That's true.
Yeah,
so we'll give him that. So we'll say that. That's about it, though. You're right. No, you're not lying, no, Mooch.
Right, E? Now, E, have you started it up?
No, I have it loaded. I'm going to start it. I was just telling Xbot and Forte that I'm trying to just finish Borderlands 3 because I don't know. I try to finish the game that I'm playing before I get on the new one, and it's kind of killing me because I do want to jump into it. Yeah, because if I don't, I'm going to go back to Borderlands maybe never. Or
E, I hear you because I'm trying to beat Destiny 2 all the way through Season of the Undying and all that.
You never beat Destiny 2.
Man, you never beat Destiny 2. Just go play. Go once you hit 950, man, it's the pinnacle grind. Then just go play something else.
I told you, Xbox. Destiny 2 is like you can go out there for a little while, but you got to come back.
Yeah,
right, Xbox. Destiny 2 is like you can go see other people for a little while, but you got to come back home.
Yeah, we were just talking about that off air. Now, one thing with Outer Worlds that I got to throw into the mix.
Go ahead, Expo. Right? Let's hear it.
You guys know I haven't been a big kind of like fan of Outer Worlds. I thought kind of like the aesthetics to it looked a little grainy and just talking to all these people and getting like these dialogue lines and stuff like that. It wasn't really, it's not really up my alley, but
It's not your bag.
No, it's not my bag, baby.
Baby.
Not.
Yeah. But with that being said, this is another good thing when it comes to Game Pass. Even though I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to get into it because I have Game Pass, because it is there on Game Pass day and date. Somehow, some way, it found its way to my hard drive on my 1X. So eventually I will be trying this out and really give it a shot and see if I can get into
so
this
let me just piggyback that for a minute here. And it's not even going to be my Game Pass rant. This is actually just something else. But people constantly say that, and I think that this is maybe going to be and I don't know if Microsoft cares, because as long as you download it, that counts. That's a click. But a lot of people I know have said, you know what? I really am intrigued by Outer Worlds, but because it's in Game Pass, I'll get to it when I get to it. I'm going to play Modern Warfare. I'm going to play Death Stranding. I'm going to play you fill in the blank. And they've already put Outer Worlds into their backlog.
Play Death Stranding?
But do you hear what I'm saying, though? The people are putting this game already into their backlog on launch day.
But see, here's the thing.
Why?
I go ahead, Fred.
Because it's a long ass game, and you got like we were talking earlier. Like, there's a lot of games coming out. This is a game that's going to take a long time to play.
Yeah, but Pred, we've all been doing this for a long time. This is for the whole panel to answer, okay? This isn't just it's not a rhetorical thing. Once we deem a game is worthy of your attention, but yet you put it aside, take it from me, okay? My example is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm actually intrigued by it because I love the Greek mythology. That's still sitting in my yet-to-play pile, and I got it the day it came out, but I played the next game in line because, maybe Pred's right. The other game that came out around that time was a shorter, easier, faster, more fun with your friends type of game, so I just put that aside. And where does that go? It kind of goes into the land of misfit toys, right? I mean, it just sits there.
Let me give you my story.
Go ahead.
Everybody knows, like, me and The Witcher have just been demons. Like, we've been fighting each other. Like, I just beat that game. Like, it was one of those. I don't do those long story-driven RPGs that take forever with a lot of dialogue. I don't do games like that because I know it's going to take a long-ass time to play through them. I'm not just going to sit there and dedicate all day to do that game. I need something fast-paced. I could jump into, play for a couple of hours, and get out of, right? So, like, Outer Worlds is just like, that's going to be this year's, Witcher for me. It's going to take a long-ass time to play. And I know if I get into the game and I enjoy it, I'll just, I'll play a little bit here, play a little bit there. But you know what? I just got Call of Duty yesterday and I already beat the campaign.
I think the Witcher 3's lawyers just wrote me. They let me know they're drafting papers. They're insulted by you actually saying that those two are in the same camp as far as time. One takes an entire eternity of human life to finish, and the other one takes about 35 hours.
Well,
right.
That's what I
haven't
played it. I haven't played through it yet.
Yeah, but I'm hearing 35 hours to kind of get through it. If you really want to get, really into Outer Worlds, it can go 50, 60 hours.
Well, with Mooch.
So that's what the dev said though, Mooch. The Obsidian said they built this so you can do multiple playthroughs. So you can do like 25 to 30 hours and get through it. I mean, I put like 250 hours into The Witcher 3.
Right.
I hear you can beat it in 8 hours if you really wanted to. If you
they said that
push
too.
the progression.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. So, I got to credit the devs for that, to give the player the ability to make this game as long or as short as they generally want. Does that? I mean, I think that's a good thing personally.
Hey, I want to say, but to Predator's credit, though, 30 hours to some people could be a lot of time.
On time.
You know how busy your schedule is. It's like I don't have 30 hours to put.
But here's the way I kind.
3 hours.
But here's the way I kind of assemble the hours in playtime. Me and Pred had an off show chat about Modern Warfare single player, and he said he just beat it, and he started it at like 11:30 p.m. last night, played it for a little bit, came home today from work and played it a little bit longer and beat it. And that's a 5-hour campaign, which we're gonna get into that later in the show. But I'm saying that's a 5-hour campaign. So he did that in basically a sitting and a half. So 5 sittings to beat the Outer Worlds, that doesn't really come off as long. When you start talking 100, 150.
No, yeah, not in the grand scheme.
You know,
'Cause
Red
yeah,
Dead
'cause-
Redemption 2, Witcher numbers. That's long. Let me just do a quick shout out to Doggy Dog 420. He says, Super Chat works. Thank you, Doggy Dog. Appreciate you. Mooch, you're awesome. I appreciate that, man. And also shout out to Sir X Man who says, don't forget PS4 have to pay for Outer Worlds and DLC. We don't have to with Game Pass and PC players without Game Pass. Shout out to Sir X Man and thank you for that super chat. Guys, it means the world. Please do tweet it out. Let everybody know we're here. It's Friday night. This is CrossFire. CrossFire starts the gaming weekend. We know this.
Crossfire.
So,
Yes.
because let me say this, because the thing that attracted me to Outer Worlds is like I'm not at all a Fallout person. Like I just it's too much. It's just too much for me to deal with, right?
Right.
But the thing like you spoke about before we started the show was pick a genre. My genre is time. You know, was going to respect my time.
Right.
So it was very attractive to hear about 30 hours. I was like, oh, I can rock with that, right?
Yes.
So and then hearing there's Mass Effect tones in there, there's BioShock tones in there. And I'm like, those are all the things that I love. You know, so that's kind of what's attracted me to
that's what attracted me to it too. It's mostly I'm about 6 hours in, and just hearing that 30-hour mark was like right up my alley. Every Mass Effect game I beat anywhere between 30 and 40 hours.
Yep.
And I got everything I wanted out of those games. And just seeing that this has like Fallout tendencies crossed with Mass Effect with the space exploration was, man, it is really good too. I actually am enjoying the story that's going on so far. Did anybody else become an idiot and start playing on Supernova on day one?
No, and I wasn't going to do that because I heard on Supernova, like it's like permadeath. Like you can lose like partners. And
they give you a very nice description of what Supernova is. It's as soon as you boot it up, it tells you the difficulty. You cannot change the difficulty once you start Supernova. You can only go down. If you go down, you cannot re-enable it. You can only pick Supernova at the very beginning of the campaign. You can't pick it halfway through. You have to eat, drink, sleep to survive. Companions can die permanently. Crippled bodies and limb conditions can only be healed with bed rest. Weapons and armors work very poorly at zero durability. You can fast travel only to your ship, and you can only sleep inside of your ship, and you can only manual save while inside your ship, or auto saves are limited. I'm thinking to myself, like, man, can you imagine playing something like Red Dead Redemption and the only place you can sleep is at the first place that you ever started in the game? That's crazy.
Totally.
See, I don't want that kind of smoke for my first place.
It's like a totally different game mode. It really is.
That's like when I did on Crush in my first playthrough. I was like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
It's literally like I'm going to California to visit my friend, but I can't sleep in California. I got to fly back to Michigan to go to bed.
So wait, Forte,
right.
Forte, what's the negative in Outer Worlds, or are you giving this thing a 10 out of 10?
I mean, you can't give it a 10 out of 10 just because, I mean, 6 hours is only 6 hours. But as of right now, I am enjoying the game because of what I think it can be and the systems they have in place to make it very enjoyable. Obsidian is a very top tier developer. I second everybody that said that Microsoft should be very pleased that they got this game in their wheelhouse and they got this developer underneath them. Yes. And for people that's been super like disgusted with the Fallout franchise over the last couple of years, this is going to probably be something that you can definitely sink your teeth into and not have to really
let me ask you this,
about
though.
the long-term grind in the game.
Let me ask you this, Forte. From what I'm seeing, and I'm going to be playing the game, but I haven't gotten to it yet. Take that with a grain of salt. It kind of looks like Fallout Light. It doesn't look like it's as in depth as Fallout gets. Is that true?
I don't know, man.
I don't know, but does it really have to be Fallout?
Well,
though? I mean, because at this
Forte, that's a great question, but I have to say, if we're going to constantly refer it to Fallout, right? You can't say it looks like Fallout and it smells like Fallout, but let's not call it Fallout, right?
No, I've seen a couple people say on my timeline that it's out Fallouting Fallout.
But that's a lot. You know what though?
It's more close to the Fallout that Obsidian made, which was Vegas, which was one of the better ones.
Which is the one that's everybody.
Well, let's not forget. Everybody has short-term memory when New Vegas came out. Do you remember how glitchy and buggy that game was?
I do.
Yes,
It
you're
was
right. Yeah,
probably in
absolutely.
the most unplayable state I've seen a game.
I agree.
You know, and I mean, that's the
You
thing.
know
Everybody
what?
has short-term memory with this. And also, you know, I think a lot of people have been so down, and we're going to get into it. That's another topic today with Bethesda and the situation. I think everybody's kind of, and when I say everybody, I don't mean the panel, and I don't mean anybody listening to the show. I mean, I feel like the media especially is so down on Bethesda, pardon me, and so down on the Fallout series that they're just like, you know what? I haven't heard any negatives in Outer World. I've heard none. Like, none. So, like, I don't I think people are almost putting this thing on a pedestal because they're that angry at Fallout.
I think they wanted to check Bethesda.
But
Right.
Mooch, why can't it be a mix of Obsidian giving the gamers out there who do like the Fallout type game, giving them a game that they can really kind of get into, where and have it be a mix of what, you know, Bethesda has offered with Fallout in, you know, the last couple of years. And let's be honest, you know, they haven't been happy with that. So why can't it be a mix between the two?
Let's be honest here for a second. They have taken two of the best devs at their times, Bethesda back then and BioWare back then, and molded it into one game.
Exactly. And
that's what they did. And they're not stupid. And you know what? They brought it out. They brought it out polished. And they mixed the two perfectly, in my opinion. I am going to go back to this game. I'm not, everybody knows, Mooch knows, I'm not big on single player. I'm going back to this game. I like, you know, how I can play with people's heads in the game.
But now, Crispy, what do you mean you're going back to it? You're on it.
But what I'm saying is, like, I'm going to constantly go back.
Oh,
to
you'll
it.
play it again.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's something I haven't felt like. Yeah, I went back to Fallout 4, but I beat New Vegas. I beat New Vegas fully. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the interaction, even though you weren't speaking, the interaction with all the characters around you made you feel something when you did something wrong.
Now, Crispy,
or you did something right.
I want to ask you a question because I think you may be the furthest one on the panel, although Forte may give you a run for it. Shout out to Midway Monster, who says, showing my support, game on. Midway, thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate that. Sir X-Man actually chimes in real quick. Says, do you think this game is a triple A or quadruple A?
Sir X-Man, brother, don't go down that street,
hole,
man.
yeah.
Don't do it.
It's a good AAA game from Xbox Game
Yeah, I think
Studios.
that's a safe way to put it, right? Midway.
If that was a Twitter post, I'd be like, that's bait right there.
Xbot, here's a great question for you from Midway. Again, he says, anyone surprised it scored higher than Gears 5? I'm not surprised of that.
I'm not surprised either.
Why is that?
Because
Forte?
this is a new. Yeah, it's a new franchise, and new franchises get it's like a fresh coat of paint. It's like a developer, like these reviewers look at it and they're looking at it like, what can I find around every corner in the game versus in Gears, is this the same game as it always been? And you always had that in the back of your head when you're scoring a game like Gears because you're on the fifth one now.
You know, Forte, I hear what you're saying, and I think that's part of it, but also with it being Obsidian and with it kind of like people were calling back to New Vegas and stuff like that. And you know how many people absolutely love New Vegas. They hold Obsidian so high because they built that game, coming out with that new IP, but having kind of like that heart of that RPG and that kind of like Fallout feel to it, that New Vegas feel to it. I think that all put together created something really big for a lot of people. All right.
You know what's funny?
I'm not surprised.
You know what's funny is that, you know, Mooch, you always bring up like marketing.
Yes.
I haven't seen shit for marketing for this game.
No.
And this game is, I mean, by far, I mean, it scratches that Fallout itch I've wanted for a while. And it also is getting me into other games. I might go back and play some of the other Mass Effects I haven't played. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I might have to do that because
that's what it's Crispy. You just kind of nailed something, and I really want to get into that later in the show as well. But you said that there's been no marketing for it, and it's going to do quite well. This is a game that appeals to the hardcore. Fallout appeals to the hardcore. And I think everybody, you guys, whether you agree with me on other subjects or not, you got to nod your head up and down on this one because it makes sense. Okay? Think about games like Fallout 4, especially with the crafting, the building, the story. the idea, the hours put in. Same thing here for Outer Worlds, okay? This is not something where somebody only plays Call of Duty or only plays NBA 2K is going to go, you know what? Maybe this year I'm not going to buy NBA 2K. I'm going to play Outer Worlds. No! No one's saying that. So the casuals have nothing to do with that. So when you see these numbers come from Outer Worlds and games like Fallout, that's truly the hardcore base that grabs that. And that's why I think, again, this all ties into what I've been saying for the longest time when it comes to Game Pass. And we're going to get into it when we talk about Microsoft's first quarter earnings. Is that basically, the hardcore have Game Pass. So the hardcore are supporting Outer Worlds. And that's the thing. Casuals, you ask any of your friends that are only going to play Call of Duty this year or the only one they play only Apex Legends, ask them where Outer Worlds are. And they'll be like, oh, is that thing from the 1960s with Rod Sterling? Oh, no, that's the Twilight Zone. My bad. I have no idea what you're talking about. They don't know what Outer Worlds is. So I do think that Outer Worlds will do quite well, but do you guys think it'll do well on PS4 as well at the $60 price tag? I think yes.
Brother, real quick, I wanted to touch on something because you were talking about, the hardcore and Game Pass. And it sparked something in me I want to share with you because when they come out with new hardware, who's the first people that get new hardware?
The hardcore.
The hardcore do. So these companies actually do depend on the quote unquote hardcore community to also help get the word out there. They're the first ones to buy it. They're the first ones when it comes to a game, they are the first ones to play it as well. So what we're seeing is kind of like the first step, I feel, of what Microsoft and Xbox are hoping Game Pass would be, because you have the hardcore using it. You have the hardcore talking to possibly their casual friends. They're telling them about this game. They're telling them their experiences. And then at the end of that, and they're like, oh yeah, and by the way, I didn't fork down $60 for this game. I pay like what, $10 a month on console.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So this is the gearing up for moving forward when it comes to Game Pass. You have the hardcore playing games on Game Pass, and they are just going to spread it out there to their friends and what they're playing. And one of those games is going to catch, a couple of their casual friends, and then they're going to get into it. They're going to start spreading it out. And I think this is just like the first steps of what's going on moving forward with Game Pass, man.
Well, the answer that question more directly, because Xbox did a good job in just going around it a little bit.
Thank you. I do run laps, brother. I run laps.
No, but the biggest thing I will say is it really just comes down to if they have an Xbox or if they have both systems or they just have a PlayStation. I think, yes, people look at that price tag of the game and say, I can get it for $10 or $15 on Game Pass and still be able to play it. But if you only got a PlayStation, are you really going to go out and fork out $400, $300, $400, $500 for a new system? At that point, it's going to be counterproductive to you unless you got a PC that you can just get it through Game Pass Ultimate that way. So I think it's still going to sell well. And I think this is what Microsoft's hoping for. Microsoft's hoping that the people that get this game at the discounted price are going to heavily influence people on the other side of the lane, which is the PlayStation side, to go out, or even on the Epic store, and go out and buy this game at a full price, because the only option they have is either Game Pass on PC or just straight out buy it outright on PlayStation, which and some people don't think about this. We talk about how much money we think they're losing by giving this game away to Xbox and PC, but the bigger slice of the pie is the PS4 fan base that are going to pay full price for this game, no matter what.
Let's not mention that it's coming to the Switch. They have confirmed that. Exactly.
And you think
and what is on Switch that looks like this? And even if it's downgraded, it's still going to look better than half the Switch games you played. And you're going to sit there mobily being able to just, mess around in this world. That's pretty cool. That make me want to buy a Switch if they're going to start doing stuff like this. You know what I mean?
I want to say shout out to Forte right now. Shout out to Crispy Bomb and E and everybody on this panel right now. But you guys just kind of sparked that right there. There's a couple people in the chat. I don't know how long, and a lot of these guys have been here for a long time. There's a reason I call the show Crossfire, okay? I really don't want to come on every Friday night and just be like, E, could you please do me a favor and tell me all the things you like in life? And don't ever, okay?
Right.
And as soon as he's done Forte, we're only going to paint positive rainbows today. Could you tell us what you like in life? All right, that's not what we're here to do. We are discussing points that are very, very intriguing on both sides of the coin here, and it does spark. And sometimes I sit here and I go, wow, I didn't think about that. That's a great idea. I like that point.
Hey, Mooch.
Go ahead,
do you mind if I crossfire somebody in the chat real quick?
Please.
Uh-oh.
All right. Shout out to No Russian saying Game Pass isn't supposed to be for the hardcore. I want to know where the hell you heard that.
So,
because if you think about it, think about some of the games that are in there. I think Game Pass is a game pool for just about anybody. If you're a more hardcore person, Devil May Cry, stuff like Outer Worlds is definitely up your alley. If you're into more casual games, they have lighter arcade games for you to play.
Right.
I'll play a little devil's advocate against you on that one a little bit. You're absolutely.
I have a feeling you're starting to like me, sir.
I love you. I love you. But no, the reason I play devil's advocate is because I agree. I do think it is part of the hardcore, but I think in his mind, he's thinking that more hardcore people already own most of these games. Most of these games that are in Game Pass is not a game pretty much in this list that I don't already own.
Yeah, but that's not true though. Think about it.
Well, I'm not saying every. It's not a blanket statement for every hardcore player because every hardcore player can't go out and buy every game. But I think it is a stigma out there where they think when you say the word hardcore and when people say I'm a hardcore gamer, they think that means you already probably own 90% of the games that's in this pool.
Is that really what makes a hardcore gamer though?
No, it's not.
Like
it's
90%.
Not.
My thing is,
not,
hold on, Crispy, real quick. Yeah, like me, I consider myself a hardcore gamer. You know what I'm saying? You look at the hours of Destiny 2, Halo 5, Forza games, stuff like that. You go into my profile, you check that out. I feel like I'm a hardcore gamer. The thing is, I am not a rich hardcore gamer. So when that's
a different point right
there.
Yeah,
but the thing is though, Xbox, you got to look at the question that the gentleman presented to you in both sides here. Not playing devil's advocate at all, okay? But who is Game Pass for? The answer is with Xbox. Xbox 448 is correct. The answer is everybody. Everybody. Right? Everybody. However, from the corporate business level, and people say, just talking from that level, they wanted the casuals. And that's what I think they're missing. The casuals don't want another subscription-based thing for something where they, I only play a game or I only do this. I have friends of mine that love Game of Thrones. They love the first season. They canceled HBO, and guess what? They never went back to getting HBO again because they were like, I just don't want to pay $14.99 for those 2 months, even though I'm dying to know what happened. I don't care. I'll live without it. They just don't care enough. The casual market is extremely difficult to get your head wrapped around.
Right there.
Gonna say with people that have pre-downloaded Disney Plus, that would be incorrect.
Yeah, I agree.
Disney Plus hits the casuals.
But what does it come down to? Content. It comes down to content, and let's be honest, Xbox has been lacking. But what you see from the Outer Worlds is their purchases have done the right way. They've done the right things. They just need them to get developed. And imagine if you have a AAA exclusive coming out every quarter. That would be something. Okay, that would make people go to your platform, and I hope they do that.
And just to dive deeper into what he said, think about Nintendo. Nintendo isn't known for third-party games. And we all say third-party is what literally breathes life into your system long-term because
it's the games that are played the most.
It's the games that are played the most. And Nintendo has looked at that and scoffed in the face of it this whole freaking generation.
Yo, for real.
And that lets you, it always comes down to content. And I cannot agree.
Did I lose Forte?
We lost him, dude. I
was
a perfect point.
Nintendo wasn't having it, man.
Well, real quick, while Forte gets back into the chat here, I do want to, real quick, I have this article here, and this is from GameIndustry.biz here, and it says here, Xbox content and services revenue was a measly 1% year over year to $2.5 million, and overall gaming revenue was down 7%. In its slide presentation, Microsoft notes that Minecraft and subscription services did the bulk of the work, offset by a higher prior year comparable for a third-party title. So what I'm saying to you guys is this. Microsoft, and this is something that there was an article written way back when Game Pass first came out and said Microsoft's gambling with the subscription-based gaming service. And everyone just all of a sudden is just like, no, it's great. It's great. And I understand that. I truly get where you guys are coming from.
They are gambling.
But it is a bit of a gamble
it's absolutely
here.
a gamble.
You know,
let's
E,
be honest.
what's your take on it?
Well, as you know, I got myself into some trouble the other night with the that tweet I put out. But I don't know how people misconstrue what I was trying to say. But that's a different point altogether. Because I think Game Pass is great, but I kind of live with that same adage where it's sort of like sometimes everything that's necessarily like cheap and it seems good is not necessarily always good. But it's the long like hustle or whatever however you want to say it, right? It's absolutely a gamble. So we have to wait and see how it plays out. As of right now, it's a very great consumer-friendly service.
Absolutely.
And I wish it was something that I had when I was in like high school and college and everything else. Can you imagine like having that, that at your disposal? I don't get to take as much advantage of it right now because, adult responsibilities, right? So when I go to my Game Pass and I look and I'm like, well, I want to check this out. I want to check that. I want to check this out because kind of what Forte was saying is a lot of the games that we owned already, right? But if you kind of look at it now, they're starting to slide other games in there, and it goes to that whole adage of for the hardcore, you may try something that you may not have paid attention to before if you had to pay for it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
So
but the thing about it
where
is when you start looking at a 7% decrease in revenue, right, the way that they're predicting here, and I'll get the numbers out again if anyone wants to see them. But the thing about it is that this is what we were saying. Right now, everybody bought in for 99 cents, right? Some of those are starting to come to their final lapse, and now people are going to have to pay $10, $15, whatever they want to get in at for Game Pass. But even at the $10 or the $1, the $2, those types of things, these are things that people are running out and buying first-party games at $60 a pop for. This is where the gamble comes in, because if you have 10 million people on Game Pass at $1 or $2 or $5 when they're buying the sales and getting in, or just buying for the 1 month for $10 and beating the game. The thing is again, what I'm trying to get people to understand is take yourself out of your own shoes for a second. Just take yourself out of your predicament as a hardcore gamer. Everybody that's listening to this show, everybody that's on Twitter that tweets every day back and forth that you see all the banter, we're all hardcore. We're all in that one pool. Then there's all the people that we know in our work offices. Okay, people that are at the different, you go to your kid's football game, all the parents that are there. And they go, oh, yeah, I dabble in NBA 2K, or I dabble in Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Or I dabble in Madden. Those people are not interested in Game Pass. They're not. And that's because here's the thing.
Not being known about it yet.
Nautical, here's the thing. I don't think it
Mooch.
appeals to the masses. I think it appeals to the hardcore. And the hardcore was the pillar of this gaming industry in paying $60 a title. And now the hardcore is paying $1, $2.
But who is Microsoft looking at to try to promote this? We always say
we promote it on these shows more than they do.
That's the thing.
But we have a hardcore audience.
Yes, but the thing is, the hardcore audience is what sells some of this stuff. If we get to a point where games like the Outer Wars become just as good as this, and all these games in Game Pass start talking like that, then the hardcore will start even more promoting it to the point where they say you will be stupid not to have this.
Well, here's Javier.
We are at a point.
Go ahead, Frisbee.
We are at a point where if you release a polished game, you should get praise, and that's sad. I'm sorry,
and that's the.
I'm with you. I'm with you there because we take them to the woodshed when a game is buggy and broken.
Absolutely,
exactly.
Javier McCann in the chat says you guys need to stop pocket watching these companies. Why don't you guys worry about your own money instead of worrying about Javier? Maybe I should just put a disclaimer. Maybe I should just put a disclaimer on the show what the show's about. If you watch Sports New York, right? They have 4 or 5 dedicated shows from 7 p.m. till 11 o'clock at night that talk about the inner workings, right, of the Mets, the New York Mets, the New York Knicks. They get into all New York sports. They don't talk about just wins and losses. They talk about the management, the upper office, the way that they're promoting tickets, what's wrong with sales. Why are these shows? Why are millions of people? New York baseball, by the way, is massive market. Massive market.
Yeah,
Okay?
it is.
So why is it we talk about these things? Because it's a talk show. This is what we do, folks. You know what I mean? It kind of.
And Mooch,
Go ahead.
Mooch, here's the thing. I love the fact that Kyle put that out there the other day about Pocket Watch, because he's absolutely 100% right. We're going to talk about what this may mean for these different companies, but at the end of the day, that gamble is on them. Whether it's
Absolutely.
Sony,
Oh yeah, don't give me
whoever.
nobody here is losing sleep. We're not losing sleep. You know?
Yo,
Yeah.
Mooch,
All
I
I'm concerned
have
with
the
is
answer
putting my money
for
out there.
you, man. Hold on
Go
one
ahead.
second, Mooch. I have the answer for you, and this might be something that people haven't thought of. You know, when it comes down to it, the way when the Xbox One X came out, now people were talking about games that should have been in development, but let's be honest, their money went towards getting the Xbox One X out, and what they thought internally was if they were gonna they do the 4K updates to games that they had there already, it would kind of like buy them some time or whatnot. All right, so now when you're looking at Game Pass, right, they're not necessarily I think their expectations are really low right now because they are gearing up for when they are releasing new hardware, and I feel they're really going to hammer home the fact that you can get brand new hardware, which the hardcore like to invest in, and you don't necessarily have to buy the first party launched lineup. All right. You can have all of the first party launched lineup ready to download and play with Game Pass. I think that's what they're really.
Here's the thing, though.
They're going to start looking
but
at
here,
their stuff.
and Xbot, I want to introduce because we do have Enrique here, and I'm going to introduce him in a second. I just want to say this one more point here, is that when people say, why do you care? Now let's take it out of the corporate sense, because I don't care what Microsoft's dividends are. It doesn't affect anybody on the show or anybody listening. But here's the thing. When you keep seeing quarterly reports come in, and this first quarter's 7% down, if next quarter's 10%, the next one is 12%, and everyone that's a big Xbox fan, including myself, and we go, who cares? Who cares about the corporate office? It doesn't matter. You're right. It doesn't matter. But eventually, if it's -7, -10, -12, eventually Microsoft's going to be like, we're minus
It becomes
out.
Zoom.
Right.
It
becomes Zoom.
When you start carrying, when you start carrying when Satya says, all right, pack it in.
Shit,
All of a sudden, Amazon buys the first-party studios that Microsoft
Well,
has.
let me put you guys all at ease with that, because
Yeah.
they're simply investing in gaming lets you know that they're not they're okay with the loss now.
Right now, absolutely.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
You
It's a
also
long
have
game.
to understand,
It's a long game, brother.
when you look at a budget for a company, certain things you only think of. It's like we sit here and we talk about this, like, oh, they're down this percentage, but you have to understand that certain things come out of that budget that affect that, like buying studios, like paying for streamers that come to your pod to come to Mixer,
Come to
like,
the platform,
like I don't know, like, again, I'm not at the table, but I don't know what all is encompassed under the gaming umbrella for Microsoft. But like, if they're buying things for gaming and they're investing in research and development, they're buying studios, I'm pretty sure that comes out of that budget or some way, shape, fashion, or form, right?
Yeah.
So like, if they're losing money, it's probably because they're spending more money at this point.
Let me do this real quick.
That's a good point, Predator.
Introduce Enrique. Enrique from Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Enrique, are you here?
I'm here. We have a little bit of a BRAP takeover this evening.
I see this. It's a fantastic takeover, to be honest with you. Enrique, I know that you're well-versed and well caught up on this. What's your take kind of jumping in here head first into this first quarter numbers report that came out? I mean, real quick, Enrique, I want to hear your take on it, but 00 Rain in the chat, he says here, Mooch, it's simple. It's a hobby we all enjoy deeply. The question should be flipped. Why don't you care? That's a great point. It's not always just about, I spent $1, I've got a month worth of games. It's me. I get it. But what's your take when you see these numbers come in? And I know you're a numbers guy. How'd you kind of take all of this profits and earnings report as it came in this week?
It kind of obviously it raised an eyebrow. But for me, I'm more interested in the long game right now. I mean, if this is a thing where it's like we see these numbers, next year, the year after that, 3 years after that, then I think you might want to maybe be concerned a little bit, because I do believe this is my I suspect that I think Satya at one point maybe asked Phil, why are we in the console business?
Yeah.
Why are we doing gaming? And I think that's why we've seen this pivot from Microsoft, which I think is smart by them, by the way, to do this, to kind of focus on their strengths as a company, as a service. I mean, there's a software as a service company now. They're not the old Microsoft. They're not a hardware company. They're a software company. They always have been. And they're kind of focusing on that again, which I think
division and other divisions within Microsoft like that might tend to think that they are a hardware company.
Don't let one piece of hardware fool
you.
Microsoft
Surface is really good.
This
I don't
company
have one
was
myself.
Surface is good.
They're definitely trying to broaden their portfolio into hardware as well.
When Satya took over, he refocused on AI and cloud, because that's where Microsoft was at its strength, or it's where it was strongest.
Too, man.
Yeah, and it's his heart, but that goes back to Microsoft as a software company. Everything's transitioning from hardware to software. We're seeing that right now. The way we are potentially playing games in the future. I mean, Mooch, I know you're excited about Stadia. That's coming out in a couple weeks.
Stadia.
That's
that name, dude.
Don't acquire hardware.
Don't say it 3 times fast, though. Go ahead.
Hey, Mooch, Stadia.
Beetlejuice.
Stadia should rip off the whole Sega thing, like Stadia.
Yes, they should.
That'd be awesome.
You should get 5% for that.
That'd be awesome. No, but I mean, like, I'm not concerned right now. But I think if this is something that is a continuing trend, and I think maybe you kind of say, maybe their plan or what they had planned isn't working out.
Unfortunately, we're
maybe
old
worried,
guard.
but
Yeah, we are.
you think
we're
they're
old
changing?
guard.
Dinosaurs.
We are.
Yeah, but
No,
the
I'm just saying, like my girlfriend's son, he's just constantly on his phone. He don't give a shit about nothing else.
Well, I will say this:
They
I
don't
will
care
say
about
this.
hardware at all. Just let me play it on whatever.
Well,
I'll play it on
I
the
will
TV.
say this, I will say this, and I'm starting to notice something a little bit in my house that's changed more recently since I got my PC.
Here we go, Enrique. Go ahead.
I noticed that my kids are looking at my PC, and they don't want to play the Switch anymore. They don't want to play Fortnite or mobile.
Same
they
here.
They see me playing Modern Warfare, and their eyes are like, "Wow, Daddy, that looks real. Can I play that?" I'm like, "Nope." you are too young. No. You cannot play it. No.
Enrique's got the red velvet rope right around.
Well, you know what, guys? I just want to pay attention to the super chat.
They're just waiting for the scissors.
Super chat says Saifu Poetic says here. He says, Mooch, have you done the math on 40 million Game Pass subs? Listen, first of all, we don't even have 40 million consoles out there. I mean, it's like 46 million. My point being is that it's
46
right,
million.
it's 46 million. But my point being, it took that long to get here. You're probably flirting with 10 million. And the thing about the Xbox brand right now is I think it's hurting out there publicly, like public persona,
Brother, they cannot wait to release the Scarlet. I am telling you that right now. It's going to be
the thing about it, though, Xbox, is this is not the same situation. I've said this a million times. I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm not overthinking it. I'm actually making it quite simple. There is no hard stop. There's no difference between November 19th, 2020 and November 20th, 2020 when the rumored Scarlet launches. It's a bleed into the next generation.
Mooch, can I just
more and more?
Go ahead,
my bad. Just real quick.
Yeah,
People are starting to report more and more when it comes to the next series of hardware that's coming out.
Yeah,
in
everybody knows that.
2020.
Yeah, it's new.
It is gonna be a leap forward. Now, a lot of people were like, well, don't expect too much and don't expect it.
But the consoles are going to be the same. They're going to be almost equivalent in power. So that leap you're talking about, now you have 120 million by the time we get there. PS4 owners just going to go right over to PS5.
I'm not talking about
not a hard
Xbox
stop.
competing with PlayStation. I'm talking about Xbox just gaining general momentum within the gaming community. And I feel like Xbox as a division, they cannot wait until the slate is kind of wiped clear, right? And they can move forward with a new.
That's the thing, Xbox. You're not listening to me. There is no wipe clear.
Hell yeah,
there is none.
With a new name. I studied psychology.
The games are coming. This has nothing to do with psychology. This is the fact that I can take the same disc from this generation and put it right into next generation. I can take the same controller from this generation and use it on next generation.
When you take a cell phone, and you change the number, you add, one number to it and add a couple different features,
Yeah.
people go nuts. It's a brand new thing.
That's not true.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, it is.
I
Dude, how
skipped
many people are
iPhone. I
lining up
skipped
for-
XX just
Well,
because it
you
wasn't
did.
enough features.
We're part of the old guard. I'm telling you, this is the
That
problem.
do not
that people-
matter,
Well,
bro.
I'm just
I also
saying,
think-
dude.
I do think though
This is
that
what it
there's a little bit of a difference with I think the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlet. Like, and I went through this, and the big reason why I decided to go PC is because I felt like Microsoft really hadn't given me a reason to buy a Scarlet. They kept saying you don't have to buy a Scarlet. We're not no gamer left behind or whatever the case is. And I said, okay, well, if I don't have to buy a Scarlet, if I'm going to use my Scarlet money, I'm going to buy a PC then, and that's what I did.
Right.
And with PlayStation 5, that's a clean slate. Like, that's you want to play next gen or new PlayStation 5 games or first party games on PlayStation, you're going to have to buy a PlayStation 5. Halo Infinite launches, you can play it on Scarlet or Xbox One X. So I think that at least on the early
or
onset,
PC.
or PC, I think the early onset.
Let's be honest here, okay?
Go ahead, Crispy.
All right. I want. Well, you keep. Well, let's be honest here for a second. Okay, you could buy the PS5. That's great. Okay, but we all know they're not making a shit ton of money off that, are they? Does anybody think they are?
No,
They might be. We don't know. I mean, they might break
make
even.
money off the hardware. The real money to be made in the gaming industry, and people all know that it's revolves around the software. That's why they want the hardware in the home, so this way.
So who looks like one? Okay, so like let's say you have an X, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they start coming out with Scarlet games that are not exclusive to Scarlet. You could still buy it on the X, right? Or you could play it in Game Pass or whatever.
Or PC.
Okay. Their software base is going to go through the roof compared to their hardware base. Now, we all understand that, like, yes, you want to sell a shit ton of consoles, but in the end, are they really making a ton of money off those consoles? I don't see it. I don't see it in the
brother.
I don't see it in
nowadays.
I don't see it in Sony's financial reports. I don't. I'm sorry.
Well, now
they are a hurting company from what I see, but that's okay.
Sony's not
let's
hurting. We have to stop. The Sony's not hurting.
No, Sony's not hurting at all.
Layoffs.
No, their stocks. Their stocks forecast.
It's all the same.
If you read investment reports, like Sony stock's actually in the black right now, and actually a lot of investors on Wall Street have been very bullish on Sony stock because of the restructuring that they did a couple years ago, and because of the success of the PlayStation 4, and with the success of the PlayStation 5, and the fact that Japan's economy is kind of really coming out of a bad economic tailspin.
Had are not good for the company. I'm telling you, they rely on PlayStation's revenue far more than any other division in their company. It comes down to
so does Nintendo. So does Nintendo, and Nintendo's doing fine too. I mean, that's just as long as the stock's healthy. I mean, any investor's going to tell you that right now. Their stock's in the black.
All Nintendo's investing in is their gaming aspect because that's all they are. Sony is a multi-facet company, and we have to realize that. Okay. And that's what it comes down to. You have to understand that if your other divisions aren't doing well, you're relying on the revenue from one division.
Well,
and the thing is,
they also make like a lot of things that go into phones, semiconductors,
right.
TVs. There's a lot of things that Sony does that people don't talk about.
Enrique,
that they're very successful with.
Crispy's not necessarily wrong. Here's the thing, though. Microsoft, is hanging out afloat with their whole. I shouldn't use the word hanging afloat. They're doing fantastic, but they're doing fantastic based upon their Windows. That's what keeps
Windows
them afloat,
Azure,
right?
Man.
So,
they're actually it's their business enterprise unit that's bigger than
and
Windows.
Azure. I believe Azure is also doing
Azure.
What I gotta say is, you got to spend money to make money, and that's what they're doing.
Well, spending money. Sir X-Man has spent a lot. I guess I shout out to Sir X-Man and thank you for all the super chats. He says, buy American Xbox, baby! I can't really blame him. Nice to hear him say that. And then I got a couple of super chats here. Sci-Fu Poetic says, right, just give Microsoft your $180 a year. Do the math. Sci Poetic, we're going to get back to that in a second. I want to see.
You better keep going with the super chat because
Biggie
just went
there. Midway Monster says, as of right now, PlayStation is dependent on consoles. Microsoft has PC, which reflects their software sales, which is what they want. Game Pass Ultimate. And then shout out to Biggie2316. Biggie, we really miss you. Shout out to Biggie. Biggie forever will be a Mooch maniac. He says it's been a while, Mooch. So here is some money for your PS5 fund. Biggie, thanks, buddy, and know that you're always a classic Mooch maniac on the channel. Thank you for that. I truly appreciate that. But I really think that that's something, right, guys? I do think that it's. I think you have to look at both these companies. They're both utilizing their strengths to keep certain times other things afloat.
Well, brother,
and I think Microsoft right now has a. Go ahead.
You said it in the beginning. You said that they're gambling right now, and it's exactly what they're doing. All right, but when they are gambling, they are holding their cards right now, and they're throwing their chips in, and they're playing along. They're not looking to throw their cards down right now and to say whether or not it's a success. You heard what Pred said about them spending money as well, which kind of could definitely put their numbers where you talked about in the beginning of this topic. And like I said, I feel like their expectations are rather low right now. They are investing in their gaming division. They have a view of where they want to go.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I don't really feel I kind of stick with what Xbox is thinking here. If you're a console gamer, then you're going to want to play a game on a console. All right. When it comes down to it, whether the game is on PC or not. Now, the reason why Xbox jumped back into the PC market the way they did is because they saw the prices dropping on gaming rigs. They knew that community is viable and it was going to continue to grow. And they wanted to be a part of that as well as a company there to make money. All right. I don't look at that as a bad thing that their first party is also on PC, because when it comes to me, I'm a console gamer. I already know I'm going to play on console. When it goes to like somebody like Enrique, who kind of goes back and forth with both, either way, they're getting him to play a game on their platform, whether it's console or PC. So they're happy they got him as well. Like, I don't see where the problem is here with their games also being on PC.
Well,
and then when xCloud comes out.
And you know what? Xbox, you made a good point. I want to get E involved here, because E, listen, I listen, there's nobody probably on Twitter that really pays attention to what you say more than I do. I think your point on this stuff is spot on all the time. E, what's your take when you see something like Xbox just made a hell of a point? Why should anybody care? There's multiple points, whether it be PC Game Pass, console Game Pass, et cetera, for Microsoft to sell their software services, which is all great. However, when you start seeing that the masses, and when I say the masses, I mean the casuals, are not buying the way that Microsoft's corporate headquarters expects people to buy, and you see revenue percentages dropping, what's your take when you have both sides of this argument, both actually holding a lot of water?
I've talked to Enrique about this, and I mean, I might get crucified for saying it, but I've kind of gotten the impression that if tomorrow everybody went out and bought a PC rig, yes, Microsoft would be completely fine with that and actually happy about
That's
it.
correct.
That they wouldn't have to make another piece of hardware, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's their focus. I think,
but E, can I just counter that real quick? I just want to say that if everybody did go out and build a PC or buy a PC tomorrow, that doesn't mean they're going to play Halo Infinite on it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
That's the thing. When you buy a dedicated piece of hardware like an Xbox or a PlayStation, you're not buying that box. No, listen, there's much cheaper ways, okay? There's the Fire Stick. There's the Chromecast. There's all sorts of different cheaper ways to watch Netflix and Hulu. So you don't need to go spend $500 on a dedicated box. When you have somebody go out and spend $400-500 on a box, okay, in the first year or two of the generation, they're dedicating. That is something that they can start to quantify your purchases on their software. When you say PCs, absolutely, PC is definitely Windows. That makes Microsoft money, guaranteed. There's no argument there. But there's no guarantee that they're going to pick up the $14.99 a month tax, if you will. That's the way they're going to look at it, a month on PC Game Pass. So it doesn't necessarily constitute a one-for-one on your purchase. That's my point. And that's when people in the chat that are still saying, it doesn't matter, Mooch. It doesn't matter. Let's just all have fun. It does matter.
Well, Mooch, I think to your point, I think when you buy a console, you're more incentivized to buy into that ecosystem because you put out that $500 specifically to get into that ecosystem. That's why I say exclusives are the lifeblood of a console, because people are going to spend that money. They're going to invest in that first party lineup because they spent so much money to buy that piece of hardware.
Now I understand that completely, but Mooch, where do you play Destiny 2 for the most part?
On my Xbox.
So we could sit here and say first party is the way
Hi,
to
Mooch.
go. First party is the way to go. First party is the best way. But I hear a lot of people that play Xbox, that love Xbox, that say, "Oh, well, the exclusives better are on
Crispy
PlayStation."
though, but Crispy,
and the hours spent on that exclusive, because it's a first person based game,
but Crispy,
usually third party.
If I play Destiny 2, if I play Destiny 2 strictly on PC and I never bought it for Xbox, Microsoft doesn't get that cut. That's the difference.
And they don't expect to.
Well, that's the thing. You say, well, we'll take away from this category, and then we'll take away from Microsoft in this category, and we'll take, and then at the end you're like, and it doesn't matter. See, they don't care anyway. But eventually they care. I mean, you take away.
I want to know why you're playing Destiny on Xbox One.
I know Enrique's going to yell at me. I apologize, Enrique. That's so great. I love how Xbox shows where all your friends are playing now. I can't get Enrique's friend picture or gamer pic to show up without a little PC next to it these days. It's so hard to find them.
Xbox for the crossplay and all that. You can go and play with your Xbox friends. You're all good with that. You got to remember.
Guys, listen, and you know who's really going to yell at me? That's at Jay the Matrix Gamer. He's going to yell at me. He's going to go, Mooch, you keep giving me all these great topics, and then you stay on one all episode. Listen, there's another topic I want to get into, guys. That's The Last of Us 2 getting delayed. I want to get your guys' take on it, because a lot of people on Twitter were kind of saying that, where's the, I'm not a big fan of these slogans we use all the time. Bring the same energy. All right. So here we go. Right?
Energy.
Right. Bring the same energy. Here we go.
I got receipts, Mooch.
Yeah.
I got receipts.
Yeah, I got receipts. Let's bring some receipts. It's like, I don't even like receipts. I used to tell people all the time, Mooch, you want your receipt? I'm like, keep it. Listen, here's the thing, guys. I got to be honest with you. I don't see this as an issue. And I can defend it on multiple purposes, even though you don't really have to.
Sony guys are used to it, man.
Well, yeah, you could. I think we're all used to it. To be honest with you, Crackdown 3 was delayed 3.5 years.
What we're looking at, like 80% of the first party that came out from Sony this generation have been delayed at least once, all the way through this generation.
Listen, but the thing is, though, Xbox, that conversation kind of went by the way the dodo bird, right? Every console's had delays to a certain extent, except for the only one you can honestly say, and they've only had one game, I think, or two at most. Nintendo's been pretty spot on their delivery of time. But realistically, this game here, listen, you had the top guy himself, who he's not easy to just say he did something wrong or he's embarrassed or this and that. Neil Druckmann came out and said, listen, I know we just announced this thing 3.5 weeks ago, but we need more time, and we're gonna push it to whatever it is, May 29th or something like that, 2020. We're gonna take a 3-month hiatus on that. So I don't necessarily have a problem with that. We also have Cyberpunk. We were all saying this. We've got Ori, you had The Last of Us 2, you had Cyberpunk, and you had Watch Dogs all coming out in about 6 to 8 weeks time frame. And listen, guys, these games some of them are 20 hours, some of them are 30, some of them are 60. They were all going to kind of overlap each other. This isn't necessarily a bad move, but I'm willing to definitely hear any argument on the other side, except for Xbox, you make a good point. And I'm not going to take away your point, but
I'm pointing out the facts. I'm not saying it's a big deal or anything like that, but when it comes down to it, because people like to focus on, the Crackdown delay and stuff like that. And I point out that, there are delays on both sides of the fence here. At one point in time, I strongly feel that the Sony delays is what really bunched up their first party to really have them put out what they say hit after hit after hit. Right. It was a buildup of the delays.
That's a good point.
A couple of the games came out on time as well, which is really good. Yeah. But all in all, they bunched up their entire first party, and the gamers' mentality nowadays, they don't look too far back anymore. Not like, oh damn, well now I see why this huge wave of first party came out from Sony. It started with a bunch of delays, and then they got a couple out on time, and now they're back to a delay.
I see where you're coming with that. And just real quick, shout out to Carlo Crispin. He says, let's stop saying console sales don't matter. If you don't care about consoles, especially Xbox, then you should want more people to buy them. Carlos, I get your point, and I apologize. You said that right as we were moving on to a different subject, but it's a very good point, Carlos, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. But Xbox, I do see where you're coming from. And Xbox, this is one of those things about CrossFire that I said is really intriguing. I didn't think about that point. Xbox's point, just to kind of reiterate that the segment he had there in the middle, was a lot of people said it was hit after hit after hit for PlayStation, and that was because a lot of those games were delayed inevitably, and that kind of pushed it and kind of mushed it to seem like they have hit after hit after hit when they did go through a 2015 drought. That's very true, Xbox, and I can't take anything away from that point. But getting back to The Last of Us 2 being delayed, does anybody see a problem with it? A lot of people on Twitter were kind of comparing The Last of Us 2's delay to what we were saying before when we were saying, what if Halo Infinite's delayed? I think that's apples and oranges, because Halo Infinite's delay is a new console release launch date game. That's a big, you lose Halo Infinite, that's a big deal.
I don't think you guys, I think, again, that's another thing of people just kind of like overthinking that title. And I know, guys, I know my name is Xbot and everything like that, but when it comes down to it, when the Xbox division is so confident that they are going to get that game out on time when it comes to their new hardware release, you know what? I'm going to sit back and relax and wait for my favorite franchises to come out. Yeah.
I have to disagree with that, because you know what? Gears 5 fucking disappointed me. I'm sorry. They had an opportunity to grab hold of people and they didn't do it. And it comes down to releasing a broken game or not. And I must say, if there's really problems with The Last of Us 2, we have to acknowledge the fact that it is Naughty Dog. And we're not talking,
a problem, dude.
Well, they could be. I've speculated that it could be waiting for PS5, and they're gonna drop it back again. And the reason why they released a month ago saying that the February 22nd date is because Gears 5 was coming out, and they were worried about Gears 5, which they shouldn't have been. They should have been worried about Outer Worlds, to be honest with you, because they, when it comes down to it, at this point, I'm looking for a company to not release a goddamn broken game to me, and I am upset with Rod Ferguson. They released a broken game. I experienced it, okay? And anybody that's downloaded WWE 2K20, I pray for you, and I'm sorry. Okay,
he's just like, I'm sorry.
I've been seeing some of those clips. I'm like, oh my god, what is going on in that game?
And 2K, we're talking about 2K here, which a lot of people enjoy. NBA 2K20.
Talk about a cash grab. Talk about a cash grab.
You know?
And I don't think they're getting enough smoke for that.
That's terrible.
Bethesda, dude. I mean, come on. What are you doing, dude?
All
Bethesda's doing the same thing.
I don't think.
I want to say something real quick. Pred. I would say a famous quote by a famous developer: "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rush game is forever bad."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
I don't think the delay of this game is really a big issue. Like, they've delayed games, and look at their track history, like PlayStation's history of their games that have been delayed. They're typically still good. So, like, I wouldn't even worry about the delay.
Yeah.
It's an inconvenience for us as gamers because we're expecting it, but their games they've delayed have actually been decent games. Like God of War got delayed, Last of Us 2 got delayed. I'm sorry, not Last of Us, but
Uncharted 4 got delayed twice.
Uncharted 4 got delayed. Yes, it did.
Uncharted 4 got delayed. Like, they've delayed some of their exclusives and blockbusters to make it right, and I'd rather have that aspect of it than a delay like a Crackdown, which was like God knows how long that was. Like, a 3-month delay isn't a big deal. It's when it gets delayed. It's still
in the window
and delayed, and then they cancel it or they actually release it and it sucks. Like, if you're gonna delay a game, make it good. And the thing
go ahead.
With Microsoft doing it, I'll finish this real quick.
No, you're fine.
The thing with Microsoft delaying games is when they delay games, they release them, they still suck.
Right. You're right. Saifu Poetic says Sony has
typically good games.
Says Sony has the talent and the team to keep you fed lessons. And then King LB says respect to Xbot, but Sony had third-party deals to compensate for those delays. Even now, they have Final Fantasy VII Remake and MLB The Show, see Nier and Persona. Listen, I gotta say again, King with a great response.
Third-party deals for the last two. I think those were kind of like, they were given. They just decided not to make the games on Xbox.
Well, Xbox. I mean, Brett. I think I think money talks and the rest walks. I think that when it comes down to it, I think Sony knew that they were going to have a situation, and they put some money up there, like Final Fantasy VII, getting that remake. I mean, I was lucky that I found one of those CD keys type of hot deals. I had to pre-order the damn thing 9 months in advance. So I got it for $40. But I mean, there's people who are going to be playing that thing. They're lined up right now outside the door of Best Buy and GameStop. That's something that they're going to have in their back pocket to keep their consumers happy and fed while they're waiting for The Last of Us to come out. Microsoft, when they say, they're so thin at first party right now that when something's delayed, it feels 10 times worse because we have nothing to fill the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's less less padding to, right. With Sony, they have that cushion with the impact. You don't feel it as much. And to your point, I heard someone say Persona. I think that comes out like in March, right? Isn't that also like a March release? 2020.
That's like
the Royal.
That's the Royal.
Persona, Persona has a cult following. I mean, I'll put it there. I don't necessarily consider that.
I'm happily part of that. I'm happily part of that cult.
Well, but you can definitely agree with me that there's a cult following on it. And when it comes to the third-party deals, are these the same third-party deals that people used to bitch, moan, and complain about throughout the entire 360 era? Like, when it comes down to it, those third-party deals that they did with like Call of Duty and stuff like that, me personally, I could care less. I am not on that Call of Duty thing. Now, I know what that means for the Call of Duty community out there, especially if they have content that's kind of pegged strictly to Sony's side for like a year and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, I could really care less, me personally care less about the third party deals or whatnot. And I think when it comes down to it, Xbox is transitioning to really depend on their first party, which is why they bought so many more studios. They have a subscription service that they're going to have to fuel as well. I think they are transitioning to depend more within their bubble as opposed to like third-party deals and stuff like that. So again, they are gambling, and we got to see exactly what these studios are going to be coming out with. The only thing I really don't like about Xbox is the fact that when it comes to new games that are coming out, they don't show them until right before launch. And that to me is something that they need to change, because they need marketing. They need to let the gamers know that there's life beyond that 18 months.
Build that hype up.
Until they do that, they're going to keep stepping on their own toes. They're going to keep putting their foot in their own mouth until they actually realize they need to do that.
It comes down to the fact that we all sit here and we look at these companies, and at this point, and this is sad, okay, are you going to release a broken game to us? Are you really? And I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious, because in the end, we look at these games, like, I'm going to be honest with you, probably one of the best games before Outer Worlds I played was Division 2, because I logged into that and I had almost zero problems. And I love Gears. Everybody knows I love Gears. And they couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, they still can't do it. They're still mad people having problems.
Crispy, if it makes you feel better, I will let you know that this Gears campaign has rejuvenated me into the Gears franchise.
That's one person.
The Gears 5 campaign is one of the best campaigns that they have come out with in that franchise.
The only thing that's keeping this game alive is Game Pass, unfortunately, and that's what I'm saying to you right now, because like I constantly see new people joining. Like I play a lot of social before I join like parties and everything else, and it's just it's a constant new people, but then they get turned off because they get their ass handed to them, or they don't understand the game. Okay. And the problem is because they've heard so many glitches still in the campaign, and all we hear is they're going to fix it. They're going to fix it. Well, they haven't fixed it. Okay,
I'm on vacation right now.
Right, and that's
what it comes
the problem,
down to,
Crispy, is a lot of people are starting to think. You see all these big, still not big. We see the larger number of acquired teams, and people are. That's a concern for Game Pass. And I understand everybody goes, well, no, Mooch, look, Outer Worlds came out and it was great, and it was, but Outer Worlds was pretty much, on its merry little way before Xbox grabbed Obsidian. So my point being is that people are concerned that Game Pass may become, this land of misfit toys where it's kind of like it's like an arcade, right? Where you have a game that's good here and there and the rest is all filler, And that's the problem, where you may even lose some of the faithful hardcore with time if they don't have exclusive big-time games that keep people's attention in there. And, Crispy, let me tell you something, everybody in the chat that's listening that doesn't know. Crispy came on the show either the week that Gears 5 came out or it was the week before. And when he came on, he was like a trial attorney for the Coalition. So to hear Crispy say this, 5-6 weeks after launch, that's eye-opening for someone like me. Because as far as I'm concerned, Crispy's
what I'm going to say in my
fan.
defense is I have a lot of people that are in my chat that I talk to constantly that are very critical. And that's what I come down to is at, we all go into this console war BS and we always say PlayStation, Xbox. Well, let's be critical of what needs to be critical. Okay. And I will be critical of the game I love because I love it and I'll never there's no mechanics in Gears that is in any other game.
You want it to be the best it can be. And that's what a fan does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly. And let's not sit here and be ignorant. Like, I know Mooch has talked about Gears multiple times. And he doesn't come to me as a Gears head. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a Gears head. Okay. Mm-hmm. And this game is pissing me off in multiple aspects. Like, yes, now it's good as far as like the stability for me. And I see people all the time say, oh, I'm having problems with ping. I'm having problems with this and that. Well, you know what? I should know that it's not my experience. So I have to sit there and be objective and say, okay, that is actually real.
Hey, Crispy, bring back loot boxes, right?
Yes. Bring back the loot boxes.
There you go. Bring back the loot boxes, baby.
There you go. Problem solved.
I felt like I was earning something. Jesus.
Hey, it's Forte. I got a question for Forte. Forte can't get off the hook this quick tonight. Forte, what's going on with all these delays with Watch Dogs Legion and Doom Eternal? Is this something that, from GameStop's perspective, is this a problem from, in the physical disc kind of category? Is this a big deal or it's not really that big of a deal when it comes down to it? I think we lost Forte.
Uh-oh.
K20 effect. That's what just happened.
I will
WWE 2K20 effect. People are like, oh, we cannot release a game like this. We can't do it anymore. It's against the rules. Like, people are so outraged. There's a lot of wrestling fans I know, and they are so mad at the way this game plays. I'm telling you, this game, because it's 2K Sports, and 2K Sports has put out great stuff, this is the first mess up by them, and it's so bad that all these other devs are like, yo, we need to step back real quick because we're not going to sell this.
Well,
because
WWE 2K20 that I have a question about, though, is this is the same game. And listen, I'm not a WWE fan, so take that with a grain of salt, everybody. This is the same game. The fact that it's this broken, what led to that? Is it a different developer this time? Is it a different producer? Is it a different? What is it?
Yes,
I think it's a different engine too.
Visual Concepts has taken over the WWE 2K series. It used to be, I think the name was Ukes. It was a Japanese developer that used to make that.
Yeah,
now,
They used to do the old N64 games and everything.
Yes,
and
years. They were behind development. They were actually not happy with 2K on their every year release window. They wanted to put in new innovations on the next series of game that came out, and they were not happy with what 2K was saying. There are actually some people saying, and we're gonna cover this tomorrow on next podcast as well. Shameless plug. That 2K might be trying to bury that franchise so they can get out of that contract, because it seems like for the past couple years, whenever they came out with a 2K, it just hasn't been. First off, they haven't really innovated anything. It was basically the same game. The next thing was the bugs and glitches that just started increasing year after year. And there are people out there that feel that 2K, they just feel that the franchise, the WWE franchise, is not what it used to be, and they think that they might be tanking that franchise to get out of that contract, which I think is actually interesting.
Who's gonna pick it up though? That's the worst part. I mean, fucking EA. I mean, come on, man. Like, we don't need EA. Like, dude, I used to love wrestling games back in the day. Now I'm just like,
dude,
yeah,
I
no,
haven't
thanks.
loved the wrestling games since they moved them off cartridge. I was Nintendo
man,
64.
Same here.
Well,
Dude,
it felt,
man, those
some
64
of these
games were
sports.
legit.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised Vince McMahon has signed off on this. I mean, like, he's a control freak when it comes to WWE brand. I'm surprised he's okay. Maybe he's not okay.
Have you seen? I mean, I don't want to like dunk on the WWE.
I'm gonna be. This is absolutely. I mean, what the glitches that we have seen, and I know they might be few and far between, but they are so bad that really I'm like, man, like, you know, because I haven't bought a. Actually, it was back in WWF, like, you know, like Sega Saturn and shit is the last time I bought a wrestling game, and I was like really interested because, you know, they've kind of played this story out in like the actual realm, but in the end, it's like, dude, how can you release this type of game? Like, how can you let people pay $60 for this? That is absolutely absurd.
Well, this could be that thing too, where, like, you know, competition, you know, breeds excellence. Because if you think about, let's even go back to like Madden, NBA 2K, people aren't even happy with NBA 2K or Madden these days. You know, and if you saw 2K when it first launched, there were some glitches going on in that too.
Yeah,
you know,
Dude,
so
I
you don't have anybody.
You don't have anybody coming at you with NBA 2K, because I didn't get any of the glitches that I saw. I saw them on Twitter, people recording them and everything like that, and sharing them on Twitter.
They're not as bad as the wrestling. They're not as bad as wrestling at all.
No,
that
wrestling
shit is crazy looking.
Yeah,
there's definitely something wrong there.
I thought it was a threesome simulator for a second. I mean,
yes. even the character models are worse every year. They look less and less like the actual wrestlers themselves.
Dude, it's like they're sabotaging.
It's kind of the opposite of NBA. Now. I mean, NBA 2K strives every year to make the players look more realistic. They give the gestures, the on-court and off-court reactions.
Dude, the movement on court this year, barring any bugs or glitches, the movement on court in NBA 2K20. If you are a basketball fan, you definitely have to appreciate the time and attention that was put into how the players move, how they cut, and everything like that in that game. We gotta give props where it's due, man. I mean, really.
Shout out to Pred, who says, how do we get on this topic? I'm going to change it real quick. Listen, guys, here's a situation. We always say that these developers go from one job to another, and we call it a Tuesday. Shout out to the Don.
Brother.
Right? But at the same time, I got to say, this situation here where the initiative lost a huge talent and they went back to Rockstar, this must be called a Wednesday, because I got to be honest with you guys. This is, myself personally, this just doesn't resonate well. Do I think it's a big deal? No. Do I think it impacts the initiative? No. But I do think it's telling, right? So this is this amazing new Santa Monica studio owned by Microsoft, which is led by nothing but, you know, somewhat all-stars from every kind of picked from a cherry tree from
it's
each
Naughty
of the
Dog
great developers,
Jr.,
right? Not quite. But nonetheless,
well,
I think it's,
how many developers have they gotten from Naughty Dog?
Yeah, but again, we don't know if that might have been the Naughty Dog employees that got everybody lattes.
But that's why I'm saying it, just for the fact of how many ex-Naughty Dog developers.
This Rockstar guy was a big deal, though. Xbot. This guy's a big guy. This was a big pickup, and he was like, you know what? I'm going back. I think that
they weren't crunching enough.
There's no crunch. If they were making cereal, it would be a soggy bowl.
My
there's just
goodness.
no crunch. Guys, what do you guys think?
It said it was lunch, not crunch.
I don't want to make more of it than it is. What do you think about this, Enrique? Is this a big deal to you? I mean, when you see that you acquire this big name from Rockstar, which, GTA, Red Dead Redemption, Bully, all these great games, and now all of a sudden the guy goes, you know what, I'm going to go back over there. I mean, does this make a big deal to you? I mean, I know that they sugarcoated it. Plaid Knuckles came out and said, well, he was commuting and it didn't. That was a wonderful cover-up tweet, but I think he just was kind of like, I like my old job better.
Yeah, I think, typically when I see stuff like that happen, it's usually a cultural fit. Like it probably wasn't the right fit for him. And he said, you know what, I'm going to go back to Rockstar. Obviously, Rockstar loved taking him back because, he was clearly like you said, a big deal there. And so a talent. So they welcomed him back with open arms, but it was more than likely just a cultural fit. It probably wasn't a right fit for him. So whatever that means, like if there was, I joke around, so maybe there wasn't enough crunch because we know about the infamous Rockstar crunch, but
Enrique, he probably gained like 20 pounds from all the lunches and stuff.
Oh my God. Lunch does not mean that they are not.
Hey, Xbox, I threw that in there.
Yeah.
I see a lot of lunch. I see a lot of lunch and latte pictures and happy hours.
No, the last time I checked, hold on. The last time I checked, anybody who works a 3-hour job, I think you guys get a lunch every single day.
Not like that.
That lunch.
No, man, they're buffet, bro.
Not like that.
You ever
They got bagels. They got bagels on the spread that New Yorkers never seen.
For Microsoft either, though. You're not working
been
for
in management.
MS.
I'm just gonna say, man, you ever been in management, dude? That shit is not fun. Trust me. Like, you are expected to do extraordinary things. Just telling you.
But check this out. With this developer who went back to Rockstar, I look at this as, well, I'm glad if he wasn't the right fit, if it wasn't the right fit for him, I'm glad he decided to say, hey, you know what? This isn't right for me. I'm moving on. Instead of staying there, only putting half of his heart into whatever project, whatever game they're developing, and not getting the best from that developer.
Well, shout out to X-Pac. Let me just piggyback that. AJ Felton in the shout out to AJ, big time gamer, dude. He says, Mooch, did you see Drew Murray's tweet about stressing about filling a position at the initiative? He really is having a hard time filling spots, and you wonder why, and we don't know why. We can only speculate. Again, it's a talk show, folks.
So the initiative's in Santa Monica, right, Mooch?
Yes, it is.
Oh, there's Forte.
Yes, there's Forte's back. Forte. He's gone.
Is that the ghost of Forte?
I don't know. I'm hoping it's the future Forte, and he can give me lotto numbers.
Hey, was I was the only one that heard that, right?
I heard it.
Okay.
Well, go ahead, Enrique. You were getting to a point.
I was just saying, I mean, they're in Santa Monica, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, I know the job market's tight, and I don't know what positions he's recruiting for.
That's true.
But it's hard in that industry. I mean, you're asking people to leave the comfort of their jobs and maybe move their families. I don't necessarily maybe agree that it's a reflection of the initiative as much as it could be that it's a very competitive market. Santa Monica, there's a lot of developers there. The initiative's unknown. And it also could be at the time of the year where maybe people aren't looking to leave just yet because they're waiting for their annual bonuses. I mean, I've seen that happen. I'm in that space, so I see that where people don't want to leave because they want to get their year-end bonus before they look for other jobs. That could be part of it.
The wildfires, man. Like, you see that shit all over TV. Like, the wildfires. Like, people are like, yo, like, I don't want to move there. You kidding me?
Or maybe they don't want to gain weight. They're like
crazy there.
Maybe they don't want to gain weight.
Maybe they don't want to gain weight. Come on, brother.
Oh, man.
Maybe they do. They're like, damn, everyone I know is going to the initiatives gaining like 30, 40 pounds. I don't
what are we getting into, like freaking zombie land? Like, you gotta have the rules. You gotta have
the rules. I love the
one.
Well, guys, real quick, I want to, and it's funny now. Jay the Matrix Gamer will not be so angry with me. I'm using all my topics. Real quick, Shroud joins Mixer this week, but will this help Mixer? Listen, I said this when Ninja went over. You can go back and watch the Crossfires. It was one of my thumbnails for it. I don't think these guys coming over, and listen, let me just explain, then I want to pass it over to the panel. You know, I always said Twitch is like Amazon. Okay, I tweeted this out the other day, and I said if Amazon was to lose two major brands, I mean 2 big brands, you know what Amazon would be tomorrow? Amazon.
Right. Yeah,
so
it'd still be
like
Amazon.
my point being is Twitch is so big, and there's such a variety of talent. There's such a variety of personalities over there that Shroud, by the way, I love Shroud. I think he's unbelievable talent, an absolutely unbelievable talent. But the thing about Shroud is he doesn't really have he's not like, he doesn't have a shtick. He doesn't have a thing he does. You know what I mean? He doesn't have he just plays, you know? And it's like, he's quiet, you know? Ninja's quiet. You know, the Dr. Lupos, the Dr. Disrespects, those guys are really kind of loud. Summit 1G, he's got a little bit of a swagger to him. Those guys that are still on Twitch, those are the guys. And the reason you don't see, I don't know, they may come over. Money talks, guys. Remember that. The rest walks. But I mean, I'll be honest with you. You know, Dr. Disrespect and the way the doctor handles, which he's my favorite streamer. The way that he handles,
I can see that. Mooch.
Yeah. Listen, you know, he's loud. He puts on a hell of a show. You don't have to like him, but you got to respect his work. I like him and respect his work. Right? Stick. That's probably one of my favorite, right? Outstanding work on his part.
Hey, is Dr. Disrespect here?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. But I think that you know, like the Dr. Disrespects his whole shtick that he does. Microsoft would never condone that on their channel.
Brother, I will let you know when it comes to Mixer. First off,
and I heard Forte again.
Am I here? Y'all hear me now?
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Oh. Yes, Forte's back.
Man, look, this mic, man, dude, what the hell?
Mike,
don't worry, Forte. I will be sending you a new mic. We'll get you a black.
It ain't the mic. I think it's something. I probably just need another cable.
All right.
Well, go ahead.
Check this out.
Take a new mic though.
When it comes to Mixer, like one thing you got to think about, since Ninja came over and stuff like that, when it comes to the most viewed on a streamer's platform, yeah, Mixer is not up there. When it comes to people streaming on that platform, it is now second place, right under Twitch. Now, what's going to make Mixer a success is the one shaky leg that I see when it comes to Xbox, and that would be time and marketing. All right. They have to market it right. They have to put it out there, and they have to
Xbox.
They have to go all in, man.
Xbox. Pepsi year in and year out is always number 2 to Coca-Cola.
And they're fine with that, man.
They are not okay. But the only competition they got underneath them is RC Cola. So my point being, right? So you're saying they're number 2. You're saying they're number 2. Number 3 and number 4. Number 3 and number 4 are so far behind, it doesn't matter. Like, my point being is that Mixer doing this.
Dude, look at the life of Twitch. Look how long Twitch has been around to establish itself. Now look at how long Beam/Mixer has been around as well. Twitch is a lot older than Mixer is. So you have to be able to put that time in. You have to, if you really believe in this streaming platform and you're Microsoft and Xbox, you have to put the time, the investment, and the marketing into it.
Xbox, real quick. 9 lives in Z Black Lives. He was saying something a second ago, and like these guys are awesome. Like, but 9 Lives says, Mooch, Shroud had 70,000 viewers yesterday, and here's the thing: the same thing happened to Ninja. When Ninja came over, the day he came over, he got 70, 80,000. Then he dropped down to 17,000, 16,000, 13,000. That's just because the news. Huh?
Well, that's about what he kind of averaged on Twitter, on Twitch, though.
But you have to look. You can't look at the day he comes over with the splash in the media. You got to look at it a week, 10 days, 100 days later. What I'm telling you guys is, I watched these guys before this was even a talk of the town. I've been watching Twitch for a while now, and I got to tell you, Ninja on a Wednesday. Okay, not a battle pass launch, not a big deal in Fortnite. He had 68,000, 70,000 when nobody could give a shit about Fortnite. When people were like, Fortnite's dying! Okay, when everybody was screaming that, he had 68,000 people watching him. Now he comes over to Mixer, he's got like 17,000. You know, so what I'm trying to say to you is, what?
Xbox is trying to battle all of the big time people. PlayStation, Twitch, they are battling them. And it's you know what? In the end, they might lose, but I gotta commend them for battling and saying, you know what, we have more money. They know they have more money.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's be serious for a second. You could buy out every Twitch streamer that has like in the top 20,000. Okay, of people watching them every day. I bet you they could if they wanted to, but they're being selective. They're choosing the people that are involved in, as I said, we are OG gamers. We're not talking about OG no more. The generation is coming and jumping over us. And you know what? We can sit here and we can say, oh, we don't understand it. Well, guess what? I don't either. And that's the point. But at the end, I see my girlfriend's kid constantly in his phone, and I see him watching Twitch, watching Mixer, watching whatever he can, YouTube, anything else. And in the end, when Xbox says, hey, we're going to bring a streaming service to you, you're going to play your AAA games on this phone, I see that kid saying, hell yeah. And you know that's my point.
I don't think you're wrong, Crispy, and I like some of your points. Forte, what's your take on this? Another big streamer name, and Shroud is big, and you got to give respect to Shroud. He is an unbelievable gaming talent.
So I think I think some people are missing the point. I think this is more of a focused thing. What kind of gamers are Shroud and Ninja? What kind of gamers are they?
Battle Royale, but
multiplayer. What type of genre does Battle Royale sit in?
Shooter. What is the number one thing that Microsoft has that they want to promote going into next year? That's going to
Halo.
Exactly. Shroud has been talking about playing Halo ever since they started talking about bringing it over to Steam, and they are focusing these acquisitions on people that they know can help grow the one thing that they know they have a leg up in on every competition, and that's the shooter genre. Their number one title, when it does finally release next year, is going to be streamed to millions and millions upon millions of people. It's going to be available to millions of people through Game Pass.
That's a good point, Forte.
You said what?
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's gonna be available to all those people day one through Game Pass. It's gonna be available on Steam. It's gonna be everywhere for people to get their hands on it. And Ninja and Shroud being at the very top of that pyramid, showing that game off at the highest level that you can possibly play the game at, is gonna be infectious to people that want to jump in and say, I can play just like that. Even knowing they probably more than likely can't, but it's just the allure of wanting to think you can do that.
Forte, let me say real quick. Can I just Forte, I want to give you your props, brother, because when it comes down to it, we're talking about Halo, and you're not downplaying what it means for a new Halo game to come out. So I gotta give you your respect, brother.
I do.
Here's the thing, though, guys. I gotta say, though, the one thing where there's a bit of a thorn I gotta throw in this. This doesn't hold water. Is like, shout out to Rain, I believe, in the chat. He says, dude, the same thing was said about Gears 5. It didn't work. The thing about it is Shroud does have the shooter genre audience, so 100% accurate on Forte's point, and I agree with you. However, Ninja, went and played Gears. Bum. Nothing. Zero. Nothing showed up, right?
You have to be a gearhead, bro.
But right. But hear me out. His audience isn't a gearhead. So his audience likes Fortnite.
You gotta play to your audience sometimes.
Exactly.
Of course.
Now Shroud plays shooters, but he plays Apex. Now he's playing, because Call of Duty just came out. He'll probably play that for a month or so, but then he'll go back to Battle Royale. That's where he's built this unbelievable, newly found fan base. It doesn't matter that Ninja started on Halo before he was Ninja, because it doesn't matter. So the point of the matter is the people that are going there are going to watch them what they do today. So to say this is another gamble that I personally think won't pay off. They're paying these guys a tremendous amount of money. because they're not making the same amount of money they were making off of subscriptions, etc. They're making a lot off of the initial contract. And at the end of the day, after Halo comes out for 4 to 6 weeks, these guys are going to find out that they got to go back and play Call of Duty, or they got to play Blackout, or they got to play Fortnite, or they got to play Apex.
Well, it only takes this is the thing though. It only takes one game. We don't know what Halo is going to have to offer until it releases. If Halo comes out of the gate and it's
Halo.
If Halo comes out the gate and it's the game it needs to be, and it tickles that fancy that the hardcore
Dude, you can say it's
really
Halo, but
wanted,
you never expected a mode like Warzone when Halo 5 came out.
Dude,
Let's be real.
Remember when
they
Fortnite,
do innovate.
The premise is still Halo, though.
Listen, how many guys on this panel played Fortnite when it was a freaking whatever
Save the world.
When it was Save the World? How many people played that game?
I did.
I played it.
Xbot did. Actually, I played with Xbot. Xbot and Mel and I played the night it came out.
No,
I think I watched that.
I'm the old guard, as Crispy Bomb says. I don't play Fortnite.
But when they showed Fortnite at E3 and they were showing the concept behind it, everybody was like, "This is stupid." And
why do people watch the? Let me ask you something, Forte. Do people watch them because it's them, or do they watch them because of the game that they like?
Well, at this point, people watch them because of them. You know, but
if that was the case, then why isn't like Ninja pulling in big numbers when he was playing Gears 5, or why is he pulling big numbers down?
Because it's still a huge crossover between.
It's not his audience.
Wait. When my kids watch like Twitch, and they're not looking at the person playing a game. They're looking at the game. They're looking for anyone playing.
All those people.
It's the game, not the person that people are looking at.
No,
because if that was the case, then
I think it's a mix.
That's like saying Lyric, that's like saying Lyric only pulls numbers because of the game he's playing, where Lyric on Twitch pulls numbers because of he built a community and those people come to him to watch him play the game. Just like Cole Carnage. Cole Carnage is on Twitch right now streaming Outer Worlds, and he's streaming that's almost 15,000 people. They ain't watching that game just because it's Outer Worlds. They're watching it because they're watching Cole Carnage play it.
I don't know, man.
I agree with you.
I think it's a mixture of both, to be honest with you guys.
It is. It's a
to be honest,
mixture of both.
You go into Gears 5 and you suck with the Nasher, you're not going to get people watching you, dude. I'm sorry. That's the way it goes. Like, it's, Gears is niche. Like, dude, Gears 4, I streamed even before Gears 5, and I got like 5 people watching, and I was happy as shit. Okay? And that's because it's one of those things, like, you have to be good. I probably have as many as Ninja would have if he was honest. It's like, I don't play Gears.
Everybody gets typecast, okay? Nobody likes to hear that, but you get typecast. Like when somebody's a comedian for a long stretch of time, right? Exactly. They get used to, like, when you see like Jerry Seinfeld if Jerry Seinfeld was going to be in a drama next month, nobody gives a shit. And I said that in his first. Nobody gives a shit.
Imagine Larry David.
Right, but I mean, now
Larry David doing a drama,
right? It didn't do well. My point being is like this is my whole thing. When Ninja went and played Gears, everybody was like, it didn't look good. It didn't feel right.
Fortnite, please.
You know? Yeah, can you put Fortnite back on? So that's what I'm saying. They're going to get these guys that have their audience that like them for their particular type of game they're playing. You know, and with Shroud, I think it's more. Yes, you know, it's shooter. But I think it's more of that battle royale. He plays a lot of Apex. That's what he does. And now all of a sudden you're gonna go, no. Microsoft, we want you to play Halo. And they're like, well, dude, Halo. Also, the thing about Halo and Xbox,
you can't deny that both those guys loved Halo. Like
it doesn't matter. It does,
but
not
they're good
matter.
at
it. It's what their audience cares about, not what they care about.
Ninja was MLG in Halo, bro.
So so let me ask you this: If Halo is good enough to sit at the top of Mixer and Twitch for the foreseeable future, for like, I ain't gonna say like 2-3 months, but for that first month, you don't think it's gonna make an impact on the game itself?
What do you mean by impact?
Because I think this
Sales?
is the thing. A lot of first thing people do. It may
playing.
not impact sales on a $60 price tag, but it might interest people to get into the one thing Microsoft cares the most about, which is Game Pass.
You know what? Hold on a second. Let me inject something real quick. Go back in time.
Fred, you're still here.
Yeah, I've been here. Go back in time, maybe. Call me daddy. Go back, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Maybe like daddy. Go back, like maybe was it like 4 months ago when they had like I guess allegedly paid all these streamers to play Sea of Thieves. You guys remember that?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And think that was a testing ground for this?
Yeah.
And now we're thinking back. Now we're seeing who they're picking up Mixer stream.
But the same thing happened with Sea of Thieves. Like everybody went there, so everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's the resurgence of Sea of Thieves." No, it wasn't. But what ended up happening, was people were like, "I don't want to watch." Listen, I don't want to watch Shroud play Sea of Thieves. Right? That's what people were saying. I don't want to watch Ninja play Sea of Thieves. They wanted Ninja to go back to Fortnite. Go ahead, Fortnite.
But it's the thing, though. Every time a new update comes out for Sea of Thieves, that game goes through the roof when it comes to the streaming engagement of that game.
That's a short house, though.
But it does, though. Okay, so Sea of Thieves isn't the best case subject because of the type of game it is. But if something like Halo keeps that same type of energy, that game has a long tail. And like I said, it just depends on what 343 does with the game.
If the
game is good, it will resonate with people. It just hasn't been a good product overall. It's been good in parts. Part 4 had a better single player than a multiplayer. Part 5 had a better multiplayer than a single player. If they can finally put it together, they might have something at that point.
Oh, yeah.
It all comes down to if the game is good. If the game is great, people will watch them play the game because it's a reason Destiny doesn't get watched just because of it's a Bungie game. It gets watched because of the gameplay. Halo has the same type of gameplay, and it's actually a little bit more focused and it's not all over the place chaotic like Destiny is. A lot of people appreciate that, and that's what they want them to get back to.
You made an interesting point. You kind of made it sound like they brought these guys over to enhance the not the sales necessarily, but the usage or the daily active users of Halo. That's interesting. Okay,
that's it. That's all they're there to do.
Well, you would think they were also there to promote Mixer, but the problem is that one, I can kind of see maybe they'll bring some shine and some new attention to Halo, but to some of the newer audiences. But I don't think that it's going to necessarily help Mixer beyond that 3 to 6 week initial.
Mixer will always be third.
Mixer.
No, look, Mixer. Let's be for real. Let's be for real here.
Hold on, let me make this point.
No, go ahead, bro.
Mixer isn't like top tier, right? Like
exactly.
No one goes to Mixer, and that's why they're promoting this. A lot of us, we tend to lump Mixer in with Xbox because it's integrated in there.
Yeah,
like you can stream straight to it from your Xbox. Mixer is like, think of it like they're not battling with anybody but YouTube and Twitch, right? So like those streamers, right? And they bought Mixer for God knows how much money and haven't really even utilized it to what they thought they're going to utilize it for. This is, to me, as a business person, this is their last ditch effort to make Mixer relevant. Because right now, I don't think they're getting their return on investment through Mixer that they thought they were going to get.
Well, I also think that they're going to use Mixer's kind of like latency technology for
the
like
FTL technology
for party chat and stuff like that. It's going to be spot on. It's going to be sharp and all that good stuff. So they got something out of that.
What exactly has Mixer done? Like what stride? Because you don't hear about them talking about like Mixer, right? You hear them, oh, we got this many active users, we got this. They don't talk about Mixer numbers. Like we have this.
Don't talk about anything they're putting out lately. I mean, it's almost like they're
financially like they're not.
Let's be honest here.
They don't talk about Mixer at all. They don't even mention.
Well, let's be honest here. I mean, there's no advertisements for Outer Worlds. I'm sorry. Like this is your.
Yeah, the only one I saw crispy was
still.
on Hulu. I saw it on Hulu, but it was tied to the Taco Bell thing.
Well, what I'm saying is they just don't
like all the time.
They don't. Well, now it's too late, kind of. It is. Like, let's be honest. Like, you're not thinking about these things. They're not. I don't know why. I don't understand why, but they're not thinking. Like, like, yeah, they put out a little quick tweet, which is cool when PlayStation does it. I mean, everybody knows that. It's cool when tweet. I'm sorry, but when they go and do that and PlayStation does it, it's cool. But when Xbox does it, it's like, oh, you didn't give us more, and that's the problem I have. It's a narrative thing. Like, come on, man. Like, oh, the other console can do it because they have 100 million sold.
I think
is that right?
It's a little more than that. I mean, we're talking for marketing. You look at the marketing that Sony does. You know, I've seen more marketing for the price drops of PlayStation Now than I have for like Gears 5 on TV. And so I think that speaks more to marketing than anything else. So that's why when people say, oh, well, when people are people are harsher on like the marketing side with Xbox because of how lackluster it's been. If you compare and contrast that with Sony. So I think that's why people say, oh, well, when Sony tweets something, it's okay. When Microsoft does it, it's not. I think it's more than just that. I think it's the fact that when you compare the marketing, Sony's marketing's just been astronomically on another level. You know, like I said, I see more PlayStation Now commercials than I do for like Gears 5.
It's been spot on. It's been spot on. They've done it when they needed to. You know what I mean? They focused on what they're trying to sell, like you just said, Brad. And it's the way it goes. Like, we understand that there are things going on. But, I mean, like, let's bring it back to The Last of Us 2. This is purely PR, in my opinion. That's the way I look at it. It was purely PR. They wanted to take away what Gears 5 had going on. Okay? And it didn't do anything. Gears 5 fucked up themselves. And that's the way it goes. I mean, we could sit here and BS about it, but in the end, for all the casual gamers, they were interested, and then they just blew it. Just like that. Just threw it out the window. And then I see Outer Worlds, and I'm like, why didn't you release this for Gears 5? This is your exclusive. You're not giving it to anybody else but PC. What's going on here? Why didn't this happen with this game? And that's what pisses me off.
No, that's a legitimate thing. Brad, do you have more to add to it?
I was gonna say that isn't Outer Wilds on PS4 and possibly.
It is. It's everywhere.
It is, yeah.
So,
it's all.
So here's my.
What I'm saying is that the exclusive.
Crispy.
It's best on PC Master Race. I just want to throw that in real quick.
All I'm trying to say is these games that these companies Microsoft purchased and that are releasing games for these other consoles, I don't think they're going to market those games.
No.
I don't think they're going to, because they're multi-plat games. They're not going to market them for someone else to buy, even though it's their customers, basically PlayStation, PC, Steam, whatever. Those other people, they're customers, but they're not going to waste money on marketing Outer Worlds.
No, they're waiting too late. Actually, Mooch, I completely agree with them.
Well, I don't think they're going to market Outer Worlds because it's not a game. It's not an IP they technically made themselves. They didn't flip the bill for that IP. Private Division did. So that's their responsibility to market it. Microsoft just wanted it in Game Pass so they could just have another thing to bolster their lineup for this year.
Well, they bought the company.
Well, they bought the company, but the game was still made by a third-party developer.
Right.
That's exactly why I don't think they're going to market it, because
that's why they're not going to. That's why you don't see marketing for it, especially from Microsoft.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, let me just do this much. It's well after 9 o'clock. I want to say thank you to everybody, guys. That's a great, honestly, great way to end the subject.
It's a great show,
we went
man.
through awesome show tonight. Outstanding show. I want to say thank you to a few people in specific real quick. First, Jay, please do run the promo. Shout out to @JMatrix76 on Twitter. That's Jay the Matrix Gamer. Jay, thanks so much for everything that you do. There's all his information right there on screen, guys. Do take a look at it and follow him in his respected areas. He does a lot of great work for folks on Twitch and on YouTube with OBS. So do get a hold of him if you have any questions or needs. Want to do a huge shout out to Biggie2316. Biggie and I, like, literally, we played through the entire Monster Hunter world. The initial. The game has become this massive game now, but we put about 50 hours in that game together. And I enjoy every minute of gaming with Biggie. Biggie, thank you so much for your contributions, as well as Sir X-Man and Carlo Crespin. And there was so many great ones. Sci-Fi, Poetic. All you guys are just fantastic. I appreciate all that. And I'll do a shout out real quick to check out at Crap Gamer Reviews. Crap couldn't make it tonight. Hopefully he's back next Friday. Literally, it's been like one bad thing after the other in his car. He had a car issue tonight, but he'll be back next week. We were talking just before the show. Let me get through this amazing panel and the outros, guys, because you got to know where to find them. They're all fantastic. I'm not going to go in reverse order because I don't remember everything, but Enrique from Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, brap. Enrique, let everybody know where they can find you, and thanks. I know you had a busy schedule. You kind of got done with family stuff and were able to get into Crossfire. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on again. And I just want to say, Mooch, I want to thank you again for introducing me to the Master Race, known as PC Master Race.
Whoa! You giving somebody else my credit?
There it is, Forte. There's Forte.
Wait. Forte, you were. I was also going to thank you as well.
No. I should have been. I love Mooch, but I should have been first.
Forte's like, you can't mooch. That's his thank you. That was his thank you. So I mooched it. I apologize for that.
Thank you again, Mooch, for having me on, man. It's always a joy to be on Crossfire. Everyone, you guys can find me on Twitter at BRAP_podcast and on YouTube at the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. We go live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you again. Pleasure. Had a lot of fun this evening.
Awesome, Enrique. Thank you so much, and we hope you'll come on again real soon. Then I've got Crispy Bomb. Crispy, let me tell you something, Crispy. You're getting better and better each time. Crispy did fantastic on his first Crossfire appearance, and this one was just superb. Crispy, outstanding work. Let people know where they can find you, and hopefully you'll be on again real soon.
Absolutely, Mooch. It's a pleasure, dude. Always. Like, I've been a Mooch maniac for a while. I love the way you just speak games and you play them. Like, you got to follow this dude. Twitch, you got to follow him.
Appreciate it.
And at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, you can hit me up always. Like, I'm open. Like, you want to DM me, go ahead. Next podcast tomorrow night at some point. I got to work a little late, but I'll be there at some point.
We heard that before, Crispy.
Whatever you say, bro. Whatever you say.
Cutting them pork chops.
And then CC. Yeah, hey, you want a pork chop? Come see me, bro. So, and then we got CCC Sunday night when Mel feels like doing it, and we got Tuesday night on Retro Renegades, and I just speak my mind at that point. I'm done with everything. I'm just saying, let's go, baby. Let's talk some shit.
Crispy, can I just say something? I was on Retro Renegades a couple weeks ago, man, and you guys were hilarious, man. Hilarious. I had a great time, man.
If you guys want some good laughs, I mean that's what we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And that's what I love about podcasting. Like, I get to hit up all the realms. I get to hit up the straight and narrow. I get to hit up the craziness. Like, I love podcasting, and you can find me at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, man.
Awesome, Crispy. Thank you, buddy. And I'll definitely be reaching out to get you back on the show again. I appreciate you here tonight. And then I've got Eric, as he's known as E, all over Twitter. Eric, thanks for being here tonight, man. And like I said, you know what? I don't care. If I got to work 3 weeks to get you in here on that fourth week, that's worth my time to get you in here. Let people know where they can find you, and thanks for being here tonight.
Oh, man, thanks for having me, man. This has been a great talk, great panel. You guys are always you can find me on Twitter, JacksonX. You can also find me there on all the console platforms, like I always say, except Twitch, where you need your phone number.
Awesome, man. E, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then I've got Nautical Gaming Forte, which I didn't mention this in the beginning of the show, but I'm going to mention it now. Is I asked, me and Forte have been kind of hanging out, gaming a lot on the side, this and that. And I said, what, Forte said, if you got it in your schedule, I said, there's weeks where you can't make it. You got work, you got family, you got things going on, but I'd like to have you on more as usual. He says, absolutely. So we'll welcome Gaming Forte to the show. Forte, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Let everybody know where they can find you. Bro. Yes.
Oh, man. Well, as always, first of all, I want to put this out there. Sometimes I think Mooch, you get a bad rap for certain things, and like I said, I don't know, and I just know you're a genuine guy to me, and I really appreciate what you do for always reaching out to me. But yeah, definitely, I am definitely 100% down to come on here and chuck it up with you guys every Thursday. But outside of that, my
Did we lose Forte again?
It is.
That cable is raising
Can
hell
somebody
tonight,
buy
man.
Forte
I'm
a
gonna-
cable,
That's
please?
gonna have to come out of the Crossfire budget.
Mooch.
Mooch,
yeah.
yo,
You get him a
Mooch,
cable?
Mooch, hand him over a new mic, bro.
Forte, you back?
yeah.
There he is. Go ahead, finish that
That
last
was my-
thought. We want to hear it.
Actually, that was my daughter. She actually came in and wanted to play games. So I'm not gonna say what she did.
Tore your
But-
cord out, bro.
Bro, exactly. She was like, "You ain't paying me no dang attention, Dad." But no, like I was saying, my man, I gotta give a shout out to my man Brad. That's my boy. Him and E. 60% of the Basement Radio podcast every Wednesday at 9 p.m. That's my family. I love those guys to death. And if you don't want none of that console nonsense, just straight game talk, that's what we talk over there. And we have a lot of fun as I beat Slow-Mo into every other day.
Oh, dude, don't stop. Don't say that.
So if you want to hear what the response to Slumbo is going to be to what I just said, tune in on Wednesday because you know he's going to bring this up.
I'll tell you, that's probably one of the best duos back and forth is the Slow-Mo and Forte, man. When those guys were on 2 weeks ago, man, I'm sitting here with a bowl of popcorn. I forgot it was my show. I was just enjoying that banter.
You're already in your mouth. You can't even hit it.
No.
Yeah,
in your mouth.
Man. And then yeah, it was fun. And then the last thing I would say is anybody this whole because I was out when y'all were talking about Last of Us. The Last of Us thing, we will find out in May of next year if this was for polish or to add a somewhat controversial multiplayer to a game that may get added in 3 months.
They're not doing it, bro. They're not doing it.
We'll see.
Good thing Forte doesn't work for NBC, CBS, or ABC. That's one heck of a long cliffhanger.
We'll see. We'll see.
Tune in May when we find out.
May 29th, when that game drops, if it mysteriously has a multiplayer in it,
Yeah,
Are you
I'm kind of
speculating?
hoping so, but I don't think so. For some reason, I don't think so. I think that's still coming out in the PS5 era.
That gets me intrigued. I'm just saying.
Doesn't it? It intrigues the hell out of me.
One thing that Forte may not know, Crossfire already owns the record with the Guinness Book of Records for the longest outros of all time. That is true. That is the truth. We just beat it in 5 seconds.
Well, I just patted the stat.
Well, that's true. Kay gives me a run for the money there. But Forte, awesome to have you here, man. Your insight in gaming and your knowledge and what you do day in and day out. Not only that, but you're spreading positivity throughout Twitter. We appreciate that, man. It's always good to have someone like you in the community and on this panel. So welcome, buddy. Always good to have you.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
And then I've got our good friend Predator H2O, who's I'm hoping within the next half hour or so we actually get back to our tactics and playing a little Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer. Pred, let people know where they can find you.
Who are you?
Wave your finger.
Your daddy. Just say it.
Fred.
Say it for
Your
the show.
daddy.
Yeah, I'll be on Call of Duty tonight. I actually have not played multiplayer yet. I just finished the single player campaign on it, and I want to touch multiplayer for the first time tonight. So I'll probably get murked, especially since I've been playing a lot of Ghost Recon. The controls are different, so I will die. But Predator, Space, H2OS, pretty much everywhere. Xbox Live, PlayStation, Steam, Mixer, YouTube, wherever the fuck you guys want to find me. I'll be there. So I'll see y'all next week.
Awesome, man. Thank you to everybody. Thanks to the chat. Thanks, guys, to the super chat again. Please, guys, hit the like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button. Let people know we do this every Friday, 7 p.m. We'll see you guys there. And we are having a new MNC, what is it? It'll be MNC mornings, but technically it'll be MNC show at 11:30, 12 o'clock before football kicks off on this channel. Guys, we'll see you Sunday morning and next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you and good night.
Later.
Later.